Jonathan looked out at the enemy camp across the valley. Something stirred in his heart that day. He turned to his closest companion and shared what was on his heart. His friend did not hesitate for even a moment. King Saul sat under a pomegranate tree with his army around him. He had no idea what his son was about to do. Between them and the enemy stood two great cliffs. The path was narrow, and the danger was very real. Jonathan knew that numbers meant nothing to God. He believed that the Lord could save through many or through just one. Jonathan told his companion the plan. If the enemy called them up, that would be the sign from God. The enemy soldiers looked down and mocked them. "Come up here," they called out. "We will show you what we can do." That was all Jonathan needed to hear. He turned to his companion and said, "The Lord has given them into our hands." Jonathan climbed that cliff on his hands and feet. His companion followed right behind him without fear. Together they struck down about 20 soldiers in that first moment of battle. God was fighting with them. Fear fell on the entire Philistine camp. The ground itself seemed to shake. God had sent a holy panic among them. Back at camp, Saul's watchmen saw the enemy soldiers melting away in every direction. Saul demanded to know what was happening. Saul called for the priest and reached out to God. But the panic was spreading so fast he stopped and ordered the army to march. Saul led the entire army out that day. When they arrived, they found the enemy in complete confusion, turning on each other. The Lord delivered Israel that day. The battle swept across the land, and the enemy was driven back completely. Deep in the forest, Jonathan saw honey dripping from the trees. He had not heard his father's oath, so he tasted just a little. When Jonathan heard what his father had done, he shook his head. "The army is exhausted," he said. "We could have won so much more today." Saul built a worship offering to God that evening. It was the very first time he had done so. Saul asked God whether to pursue the enemy further. But that night, God did not answer. Saul declared that whoever had sinned that day must pay for it, even if it turned out to be his own son. The lot fell on Jonathan. He stood before his father and told him plainly what he had done. He was not afraid. Saul said Jonathan must die. His oath demanded it. Even his own son could not be spared. But the army rose up as one voice. Not one hair of his head, they cried. He fought with the help of God today. The army rescued Jonathan that day. His life was spared because of their love and because of what God had done through him. God had delivered Israel. Through the courage of one faithful young man, everything had changed.